Alright, cool. Hello. 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 So I haven't uploaded in a long time. Few months. Some stuff has happened. Not like life changing, but it's there. I didn't say that correctly. I moved in with my father. Although you've kind of already seen what my room already looks like, it's nothing really new. And my father doesn't exactly agree with me doing YouTube. So on the rare days like these where he has work and I don't have school, I'll try to record a video. And yeah, I wouldn't know what to make. I wouldn't know what to record or talk about or do. And I kind of just was hit with the thought, I was like, why don't I just talk about stuff, just random stuff? Because my father told me about a man that has a podcast that would talk about almost anything and everything, really, and he'll do it for hours. And I kind of thought, how come I can't do that? Why not I do it? So I don't listen to the man, to that man. I don't exactly know his name all so well, which it's probably not like a good thing. But why not? So the very short amount of people that watch my videos, there's close to 20. If you have a suggestion as to what it is that I should talk about, I'm free to suggestions. There's a lot of things that I would want to talk about, but I wouldn't know where to start. So I think I should probably make a list of the things that I should probably talk about. Okay. One thing about me is that I like to get into deep conversations. I say deep. It's just, yeah, deep. I like to just talk. I don't wanna have, small talk like the weather's great today. I don't like that kind of talk. It just doesn't go anywhere. It's not, because I can get bored pretty quickly, and I always want to be entertained and stuff. So what is it that can entertain me? And just getting into deep conversations. That's it. So that's what I'm doing. And what I want to talk about is, well, there's like two things. But I have a question for those who watch this. What is your thought, or what do you think if these problems that we have here in America, in the world, where do you think we would be in life if we actually focused on those problems? Problems being like a suicide. I looked up suicide ratings on Google one time, and it was from 1999 to, I believe, 2017. And the amount of suicides that were recorded was a mountain. From 1999 to 2017, it was a mountain of the amount of suicides or the amount of deaths that happened from 1999 to 2017. And it's kind of sad and disturbing. What is it that caused suicide to raise? What is it that caused the number of suicides to raise? And I think of maybe LGBT, just different sexualities, different what's the word? There's a word to this. Identities, different identities and whatnot. I feel like there was a handful of them right before 2017, and I don't think it was that bad. But the more we started looking more into it, the more we started getting into it, the more complicated and confusing it became, and the more people that fell victim into this confusion. I'll look on Pinterest every now and then, and I saw a post where it was what's it called? Where it described what these different sexualities mean. There was gay, there's bi, pansexual, asexual, all these different things. And there was like 3 of them that almost meant the same thing, but at the same time it didn't. And it was confusing to me, because what does it really mean? And I was so confused. When I first heard the word pansexual, I was told that it meant you don't care about the gender, you just care about the personality. It's like, oh, then I'm pansexual. But then I look at the definition and I was like, okay, so apparently it's not that. It's something else. And it kind of just confused me a lot. And these different identities is probably one of the things, maybe one of the main things, top 5 things that cause suicide to raise. There's also this gender inequality that's happening, specifically men and women, where women who work just as hard as men do are being paid less. And that's actually the gender inequality thing. That's been going on since humans existed, right? It's always existed. Greeks, Romans, whatnot. I think way before then, there was still gender inequality. It's there's a little mention of it in the Bible itself, and I think there's like a mention of gender inequality or some sort of topic like that in almost every Bible-related book that there is in all these different cultures and religions and countries, languages, and whatnot. There's always going to be some sort of mention about gender inequality or the roles of a male and a female. And in the Bible, in the Christian religion, it states that the woman whatever the man says goes. The woman must obey her husband. And in the Muslim Bible, I believe there's a word to it. I can't exactly remember. I wrote it all down, but that's cool. It basically has a list of how a couple should act and how they should act when they are together. So how a husband treats his wife and how a wife treats his husband and what the roles they need to play. The husband needs to work, the wife needs to stay home and cook when the husband comes home and clean the house and take care of the kids. And it's basically a similar role that it is for everywhere. And the finding of us having gender equality has always been around. Always has. And the gender inequality has also been around as well for a very long time. And it's now that we're actually doing something about it, but the sad truth of that is that males basically hold a lot more power than we females do. Because there's a lot of facts to it. And it kind of sucks. But I don't see a reason to do that. I don't see a reason to fight. You can, for those of you who are, you can go ahead, by all means, do it. Do something that I can't see myself doing. You're welcome to. Everyone is. Here in America, at least. I don't think you can anywhere else, maybe. No. Don't judge me, I'm eating a smoothie with a spoon. I don't see a point to it. I don't. To me, if I were to have a job and I'd work just as hard as a male would and I get paid less, that kind of, it'll definitely piss me off. It'll definitely get me aggravated, but I won't exactly do anything about it, because well, money is money. I'll take what I can get. I don't wanna complain. And with the amount of money that I already get, if I work just as hard as a male, it'll still, as long as the amount of money that I get will keep me above surface level. I don't know. I can still be able to take care of myself. You know, if I were in an apartment, I'd pay rent. I can still buy food, still pay my bills. That's really all that I need. Yeah, the guy next to me works just as hard as I do and he gets paid more. Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, hey, I'm still living. There's not much to it. I don't see it as he gets paid more, but I work just as hard as he does, and I get paid less. What is this? I'm gonna go speak to my manager about it. I'm not gonna do that. It's a waste of time, effort, and energy in my eyes. No, for me, more like. If you just focus on that, to me it's why waste your time and energy on something like that than, I don't know, wasting your time and energy on raising a kid, taking care of said kids, taking care of the house that has said kids in, said house that you too are living under. instead of worrying about not having the proper respect. Worry about what's really important than respect. Look past your ego and your pride and take care of what really is most important. And if you have a kid, that is it. That's what you need to take care of. If, say, a loved one is in the hospital, go help them, go take care of them, go be there for him. If someone is going through a tough time, be there for them, help them, guide them, instead of, calling them and saying how you don't like the system. Gender inequality has been around forever, and the need or the want for gender equality has been around for just as long. It's at this point, after years and years of us humans existing, which is about 30,000 years, I think, if I remember correctly. We're now from when has the want of gender equality strengthened? When was it? I'd say somewhere in the 19th or in the 20th century, which was the 1900s. Let's say around there. And then a few years later, here in the 21st century, the 2000s, another gender inequality problem that's been happening is letting transgenders go into their identified gender. It's transgenders. Yeah. If I were to identify as a male and I want to use the male bathroom, that's not allowed. That's another thing that popped up a few years ago. I don't think the transgender identity bathroom thing has been around before the 1900s. It happened around maybe 2010, I think. Somewhere around there. I'm kind of like throwing guesses. I don't exactly know when all of that really happened. But, I mean, the transgender and gays and whatnot, those appeared around in the 1900s. Yeah, definitely the 1900s. So these problems only appeared a little after that, after people really started paying attention to it. I want to spill my drop. I am still young. There are still some things that I myself don't understand, and this is one of them. I don't exactly understand this sexuality thing. After talking with my father, he doesn't see it as complicated as that as the sexualities are. He just sees it as you're a guy and you're a girl. That's about it. That's it. There's no need to go into details. If you're a guy, you're a guy. If you're a girl, you're a girl. It's that simple. And I think about it as like I guess it really is that simple. It just makes me think of, if you think hard about it, it's going to be hard. If you think easy, it's going to be easy. So if you think hard about a problem, it's going to be more harder than you think it is. But if you see it as a problem, then you can solve it. It's that easy. There's no if, ands, buts, or so's, or whatnot. There's just none of that. It's a problem. Look at the problem. Try to find ways to solve it or around it, and boom, you got your answer. You got your solution. There is no need to think so deeply about it, because if you do, you're just gonna make it more complicated. And that's kind of what I think is happening now with the sexualities, different genders and whatnot. Different identities. It is confusing to me. I feel like when it comes to identities, there can be like, there doesn't need to be I like guys and girls in a romantic way. I like guys and girls in a platonic way. I like guys and I don't care about the gender, but I care about the personality. There shouldn't be that, in my opinion. Like, as far for identities, I feel like the main ones that don't that need the most attention to it, which is gays and lesbians, which is the same thing but for opposite genders. Gays is for guys, lesbians is for girls. I don't know. And then you being a female, I feel like that's a little confusing too. If you're transgender, if you're transgender, being a female, being a transgender is what's confusing to me as well. Where you change your identity to the point of you're changing your gender, changing your name, changing your gender, changing your form, what you look like. People will go as far as to get surgery to remove breast, add breast, get rid of a penis, maybe add one. No, I don't think you can. But all this shenanigans and whatnot, I guess when we're older, in our teens and whatnot, that's where we should really pay attention to it. But I feel like it's not a great idea to put this on our children, to put on our young ones. Because with all this with all this very detailed identifying identities and whatnot, I feel they're confusing our children, and I fear that that's mainly what is causing these deaths to happen. There are a lot of deaths Of course, there's a lot of deaths. There's about 10 deaths that happen every day. No, it's not the only issue of these reasons of death. It's not. There's more points. There's more reasons as to why suicide has risen. There's more reasons as to why these problems exist and whatnot. And earlier, I said, how far do you think we will be in the future today if we really did something about these problems that we know exist? there's a lot of problems that we know exist, and there's a lot of problems that we know is a really huge problem and really affecting our society today. There is a lot of them, but we don't exactly do anything about it. We kind of just complain, and that's pretty lazy to me. Um, I feel like I'm being a hypocrite, cause I myself have issues with my own body. I muscle aches. I'm pretty sure that there's an actual thing to it, but what we know so far is it's muscle aches, and basically it's where anywhere on your body at any point of time, for however long it's going to happen, there's going to be pain somewhere in my body. There's pain right here in my leg right now. Um, but it happens very randomly. There would be times where it kind of just stopped me from breathing for a few seconds. It stopped me from walking correctly because it's in my ankle, my knee, my calf, my thigh, my hip. It's kind of hard to move my arm because it's in my wrist, my fingers, my elbow, my shoulder, um, triceps, and biceps, your forearm as well. It's just it always happens somewhere, and just sometimes there was this one time where I was at my mother's house and I was eating. I was eating food. I was watching some videos on my phone and whatnot. It was late at night. Um, my mother and stepfather were awake. For some reason, I don't know how and I don't know why, but it did, and I started feeling pain in my stomach mainly, and it just kind of started traveling upwards. And I just kind of sat there waiting for the pain to go away, but this is a pain that, again, like I said earlier, it happened for a random amount of time. And so sometimes it can be a pain that just, happens like that, or they'll go on for a few minutes. And that's what the pain was. It was for a few minutes. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, I couldn't just sit there because the pain was still moving and it was still going, the pain was still there. And it was so hard to move, and I thought it was just a stomach problem. No, it was legit pain. It was this condition or something that I have, and I wanted to I tried to text my mother to say, hey, I need help. I can't move. It's hard. I'm feeling pain, and it was such a struggle to move my fingers alone, because the pain just kept on getting in the way, and every time whenever I moved, it just made that pain even worse. But for a long time, I did nothing about it. For a long time, the pains that I would feel around my body that's been happening for a few years, I do nothing about it. I'd complain, I'd say something about it, but I won't do anything about it. My father has suggested to me all these different things that I can do to have the pain go away, but I would always refuse because I was always I was always doubting it and whatnot. And I'm trying to work on it now. I fear it might be a little too late, but better now than later. Better now than never. For a long time, I've noticed these problems that I have. For a long time, I've complained and done nothing about it. And now I want to try to do something about it. So having that thought process in mind, knowing that this little problem that I have really does affect who I am, knowing that these problems that we have in our society today, and doing something about it, how far would you think we would be today? Like there's people, like these different fantasies that, in like 300 years from today, there's going to be floating cars, hovering skateboards and whatnot. And if we were to actually pay attention and do something about these problems that we have, do you think that those 300 years from today we would be there right now today? Because there's like a theory, it's like we're going to discover this stuff in a few years from now. I was like, well, if we focus on the problems and did something about it, would that day a few years from now be today where we are now? What's your opinion on that? What's your thought process on that? The gender inequality for males and females, and for identities, gays, transgenders, lesbians, asexuals, all those people, all of that. If we did something about it, if we did something about the gender equality thing, how far would we be today? I saw an ad a few days ago, weeks ago, where it's mathematically and scientifically proven that 208 years today, from 208 years later, their gender equality will finally exist. And I don't like that. It doesn't need to be 208 years from now. It needs to be today. It needs to be tomorrow. It needs to be less than 50 years from now. Why 208 years? Why not now? Why not actually do something about these problems that we have that is stopping us from actually evolving and going forward and just moving forward? These problems that we have, it's preventing us from doing so. But we don't. We see the problems like, we don't need it, and just toss it right behind us. Next thing you know, that problem's gonna come back and bite us right in the ass, and it's gonna stay there for the rest of your goddamn life until you finally decide to do something. Smack it with a stick. Oh man. I don't like that we have to wait after our death just for something that we wish to exist finally exist, and we're not even there to see it. Everyone living today on this earth as I speak right now is going to be dead before gender equality finally exists. And it's disappointing. We finally do something about a problem that we have and that we've known for a long time. But it's only after we die will there actually be improvement in it. And it's sad, disappointing, frustrating. All that jazz. You like jazz? And it sinks by spoons. That's my question of the day. Where would we be if we dealt with these problems that we have today? And it's going to be a topic that I'm going to be talking about for a while. This is just one of the things to think about. This is just what were to happen if we actually, focused on this gender inequality thing. How far would we be in society today? There's other things that can be made. Where would we be if where would we be if we actually dealt something about the homeless that are on the streets? There's a lot of problems. I can't think of it off the top of my head. There's like abortions. If we either completely forgot about it, or if we actually did something about this problem that's depleting us from going forward in the future, if we actually focus on these problems and did something about it, how far will we be in the future today? This is just one of the things to think about, and that's kind of what it is that I'm trying to do. I want to try to get people to think and get people to start talking. Technically, you're not talking if you're writing it in the comments, or if you're just emailing it to someone or something. But just speak, say something, type. And maybe, just maybe, do something about it. So what we complain about, we do. Instead of just letting it sit there and collect dust. I guess that's all I have to say today. Next week, hopefully, I'll talk about something else. Until then, I'll see you later.